The film opens with Derek Charles and his wife, Sharon, who have just purchased a new home and are excited to start their life together with their baby. As they explore their new house, they can't help but fall in love with it. They wander through each room, even venturing into the attic. In the bedroom, they discover a ceiling mirror that Sharon finds unappealing, while Derek thinks it's a unique feature. As the movers arrive with their belongings, Derek heads off to work. At the office, he bumps into Lisa, a temporary employee, who accidentally drops her papers. In the process of helping her, they share an awkward moment. Unbeknownst to them, she works directly under him. Derek instructs his assistant, Perrick, to screen calls from his wife, as he's trying to avoid dealing with the movers. Back at home, things are chaotic, but they manage to carve out some quiet time together, even if it's just sitting on the floor. The next morning, Derek arrives at the office to find Lisa waiting at his door, ready to assist him and deliver a memo about the upcoming Christmas party. He enjoys the coffee and is quite impressed with how well Lisa is managing her new job. They discuss his wife, but he prefers to concentrate on work. The following day, Sharon stops by his office just as Lisa enters with coffee, leading to a tense encounter that forces Lisa to leave, as Sharon is being quite aggressive. After Sharon steps out to mingle with other colleagues, Lisa returns and notices a family photo, which stirs up some emotions. She takes a seat to browse through his CD collection. The next day, Derek comes into the office, and with Christmas approaching, Patrick is back as well, but Lisa remains because another colleague is unwell. Patrick is aware that Lisa has been eavesdropping on Derek's calls, yet she manages to strike up a friendship with him and agrees to go out for drinks later. Later in the office, Derek finds Lisa in tears in the break room. Before he departs, he offers to discuss what's troubling her. She reveals that she was recently dumped, and Derek provides comfort. Just then, Ben walks in and notices Lisa, finding her attractive despite both being married. He suspects she might be trying to pursue Derek while he is busy with work. He discovers a note from Lisa along with a CD featuring a song he enjoys. Just then, he receives a message from her, leading to a conversation about the track. He eventually tells her to focus on her work. Later at the bar, Derek notices Lisa and compliments her dress. They both plan to grab a bite before heading to a party. As they chat and sip drinks, the atmosphere at the party becomes wild. Derek is having a blast dancing with Marge when Lisa interrupts and challenges him to a drinking contest, which he wins before continuing to dance. Under the mistletoe, she attempts to coax him into a kiss, but he pulls away, wanting to leave. He heads to the bathroom, and she follows, throwing herself at him. He tries to push her away just as someone walks in, and they both scramble to keep quiet. The man hears them, and despite Derek's efforts to stop her advances, she persists until he finally restrains her and bolts out of the bathroom, escaping the party. Patrick notices something amiss, but Lisa diverts his attention with a dance. Once home, Derek checks on his baby before heading to bed, where he finds Sharon asleep, choosing not to mention the night's events. The following day, Lisa arrives at his office, casually asking for a portfolio as if nothing had happened. As the sun sets, Derek makes his way to his car. Just as he settles into the driver's seat, Lisa unexpectedly hops into the passenger side, eager to apologize for her behavior at the party. However, she quickly reveals a daring set of lingerie beneath her coat. Derek firmly asserts that there's nothing between them and promptly ejects her from the vehicle. Furious, she watches as he drives away. Upon arriving home, Derek finds Sharon waiting for him, visibly upset about her sister's impending divorce. Choosing to keep the incident with Lisa to himself, he comforts her instead. The following day at work, Derek confides in Ben about Lisa and decides to take action by reporting her to HR. When he arrives at the office, he discovers that Lisa has already left, which brings him relief. As the new year rolls in, Derek and Sharon return home together, where they find a new email waiting for him. Sharon encourages him to check it, and he quickly shuts it down when he realizes it contains a provocative photo of Lisa, just in time to keep Sharon from seeing it. The next day, Derek sends a message to Lisa, demanding she leave him alone, but all he receives in return is a cheerful smiley face. During a work retreat, his colleagues pressure him to hire a stripper. When someone sends him a drink, he assumes it's from Lisa. While on the phone with Sharon, he suddenly spots Lisa standing right in front of him. Although he's not pleased to see her, she reveals that she quit her job to avoid jeopardizing his position, claiming they can now be together. But in reality, this is merely her fantasy. Derek is desperate to get her to leave, but she slyly slips something into his drink. Despite his attempts to persuade her, she remains unfazed, insisting that she'll be waiting for him in her room. As the drug takes effect, Derek finds himself heavily intoxicated, struggling to make it to his room. He collapses onto the bed, barely registering Lisa entering and undressing. Under the influence, he feels powerless to stop her from doing as she pleases. The next morning, Derek wakes up feeling disoriented and unsteady, realizing he's late for a meeting. He rushes there, only to find it already in progress. During the meeting, he learns that his wife is present, but when he goes to find her, he's shocked to see Lisa instead. She's acting as if they're in a relationship, leaving Derek bewildered. He tries to make it clear that nothing will happen between them and returns to the meeting. Later, Derek returns to his room, only to find Lisa asleep in his bed. In a panic, he attempts to wake her, but she takes some pills and appears unresponsive. He calls for an ambulance and begins CPR as his coworkers look on, confused by the scene. That night, Ben receives a worried call from Sharon, who is anxious because Derek hasn't reached out. Ben hesitates to share the truth, knowing Derek is in the hospital. Sharon arrives, believing Derek is injured. Soon after, a detective shows up, wanting to speak with Derek, which only adds to Sharon's confusion. The detective seeks the truth, but Sharon is fixated on the possibility of Derek cheating. As Derek tries to explain, she refuses to listen. Just then, the detective returns with a document revealing that Lisa's emergency contact is none other than Derek himself. They finally arrive home, and Sharon is furious because he kept everything from her until now, which raises her suspicions. This leads to a heated argument, as she struggles to trust him after his secrecy. She demands that he leave the house, leaving him feeling powerless. The following day, Lisa meets with the detective who is eager to hear her side of the story regarding her incident. Although she learns that Derek wants nothing to do with her, she notices flowers from him. Lisa explains to the detective that they had plans to meet at the hotel, but Derek has denied everything. As Lisa continues to speak, the detective begins to realize that Lisa's mental health may not be entirely stable. Meanwhile, at the office, Joe is growing increasingly uncomfortable with the situation and is determined to support Derek, but he knows he can't let this issue linger over the company. He decides to hand Derek's case over to Ben. Just then, the detective arrives to speak with Joe, revealing details about Lisa's diaries that document their intimate moments. As Derek reads through them, he realizes the claims are untrue. While they discuss their next steps, Derek learns that Lisa plans to move in with her sister. He heads home, but Sharon still refuses to let him back in. Instead, he focuses on work and takes their son to the park. Although Sharon is still upset, Derek ends up staying at a hotel, but gradually, she begins to soften and forgive him. He reminds her that it's his birthday and invites her to dinner, but she simply smiles and shuts the door in his face. Later, as she prepares for the evening, they meet at a lovely restaurant where everything seems to be going well. She even has a present waiting for him back at home. Meanwhile, the doorbell rings, and the babysitter answers to find Lisa standing there, who confidently walks in. Despite the sitter's attempts to send her away, Lisa insists she belongs there and heads upstairs to the baby's room. At the restaurant, the couple is enjoying their time while Lisa cradles their baby in her arms. They finally agree to reunite as a family, and she hands him back his house key. Feeling joyful, they make their way home, but when Lisa leaves, the sitter informs them that someone had been with the baby. Panic ensues as they rush upstairs, only to discover the baby is missing. Derek frantically searches the house and eventually heads outside, deciding to check the car. To his relief, he finds the baby in the back seat. They rush him to the hospital, where the doctors confirm he's perfectly fine. A detective is present, and Sharon is furious that Lisa managed to enter their home. Upon returning, they find their bedroom in disarray, with Lisa having never truly left. She even cut Sharon out of their family photo. The next day, Sharon calls Lisa, threatening her with harm if she doesn't stop interfering in their lives. A new security system has been set up, and later that evening, Derek hears a noise outside and decides to investigate. He spots police officers nearby, which gives him a sense of security. After a while, Derek heads to work, and once he arrives at the office, Lisa reaches out to Patrick, as they remain friends. She informs him that Sharon and Derek are going through a divorce, but Patrick is aware that they are both attending her parents' anniversary celebration together. Meanwhile, at home, Sharon is preparing to leave but realizes she forgot her purse. She rushes back to grab it, neglecting to set the alarm before stepping out. At the same time, Lisa sneaks into the house while Derek is at work. When Derek receives a call from Sharon, she suddenly remembers the alarm and turns back, unaware that Lisa is inside, waiting for Derek. When Sharon returns and sets the alarm, she hears a noise from upstairs and goes to investigate. To her shock, she discovers Lisa in her bed, leading to a confrontation. Lisa attempts to strike Sharon with a lamp but misses. Just then, Derek calls and Lisa answers, but Sharon snatches the phone, igniting a physical struggle between the two. As Derek contacts the police, Sharon, fueled by rage, continues to attack Lisa. However, Lisa gains the upper hand, and they tumble down the stairs, with Lisa delivering a kick to Sharon's head, leaving her dazed. After the chaos, Sharon searches for Lisa but can't find her. She eventually heads to the attic, where she discovers Lisa, who retaliates by hitting her with a piece of wood. The fight escalates, and Sharon devises a plan to lure Lisa to the newly renovated section of the basement floor, hoping she will fall through. Lisa, oblivious to the trap, keeps swinging the wood at Sharon, who taunts her, trying to draw her closer to the precarious spot. Sharon loses her balance but manages to grab Lisa's weapon, yanking her down and causing both to tumble toward the floor. Lisa, however, clings desperately to the ledge, hanging precariously from the attic. She struggles to pull herself up, teetering on the edge of disaster. Sharon, witnessing the scene unfold, can't bear to see Lisa plummet to her demise, so she reaches out to help. Yet Lisa's instinct is to drag them both down instead. After a tense moment, Sharon convinces her to let go, and in a frantic attempt to save herself, Lisa grabs onto the chandelier, which ultimately gives way, sending her crashing through a glass table. Miraculously, she survives the fall, but just as hope flickers, the chandelier crashes down on her. At last, the police arrive, and outside, Sharon is embraced by Derek, relieved that she has resolved the chaos. With the threat behind them, they can finally look forward to a brighter future, and the film ends. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure.